hope you guys are all having a great day. Can you join me in sharing the feed right now? I'm going to do it. And while I do that, Mr. Rob Carlmark will tee up the first story.
Okay, so there are a few stories that I rant and rave about in the newsroom before, during, and after the show. And then now, luckily, it's going to be in this show.
Love it.
And the reason why is this. This just struck a nerve with me. And the story is this. In South Lake Tahoe, a huge tourist destination, not only for California, but the United States and the world, okay? It's a big deal. And lately, because of the popularity of short-term rentals, and that's the general term for things like Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway, even vacation rental property companies, okay? They all fall in this, that you're going to rent a home, a private residence for, say, 3, 4, 5 days, something like that.
Yes.
Okay? So it's been very, very popular because in South Lake Tahoe, your experience, if you don't live there, your experience is going to be in a couple of different ways. You've got your high-rise casino hotels.
Yes.
You've got your small, what used to be mom and pop motel experience.
Cottaging, yes.
Yeah, then there's some other more high-end ones that they're redoing. There's one called The Landing, which is amazing. It's right near the water.
Okay.
It's really good. It's boutique-y, and they're trying to do more of that sort of stuff. Take some of the old ones and then revamp them. So you get a smaller setting, but it's all modern. So those are kind of your options, right? But then this other one comes up, and vacation rentals have been around for a while, but now it's just so popular because you don't have to go through a property management company to do this. You can kind of do it yourself.
Yeah,
and
find it yourself.
For people, a lot of people that either live in Lake Tahoe or have their vacation home there, this is specific to South Lake Tahoe, they want to rent it out because they're not there all the time, so they can make a little bit of extra money. The property's getting used. There's people in and out. So, things like pipes freezing, someone's going to be aware that that turnover can be really helpful for them. But really, it's to make money while you're not using it. Well, what else is South Lake Tahoe known for? South Lake Tahoe, of the two, if you have to pick two, there's North Lake Tahoe and South Lake Tahoe. I hate splitting up like that because there's other spots that are amazing. North Lake Tahoe tends to be a little bit more low-key, more family-oriented. That's how they brand themselves, but I tend to find that that's kind of the case.
Okay.
I go to both. I bring my kids up to South Lake Tahoe. We stay in the casinos. We've had a great time. But what is happening is that the people that live in South Lake Tahoe, the locals, they're having a real problem with how popular these Airbnb residents are. So, over the last 3 years, they've gone to City Hall and they said, look, they turn into party houses. It's loud. People are parking everywhere. There's issues with trash. If you're not from there, you leave your trash bag outside. The bears come. There's a whole bunch of things that bears. Bears will come in for the trash.
Here's the thing. I'm going there.
Okay, you'll be fine. Well, the bears are waking up. They'll be around. You probably won't even see any, but just lock up your trash. That's the easiest thing.
Okay.
So this is what's getting me hot about this story, and maybe I'm the only one.
Okay.
3 years ago, they started to put in restrictions. Little curfews, fines in place, things like that. They don't want people parking on the street, especially during the ski season, because you need to have cars off the street so they can get the plows in, so they can come in, get the snow off the roads.
Which is very true.
That's really
helpful.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crucial for people to get around in South Lake Tahoe. If you live there, you probably work there. You need to get to work. You cannot have the plow not get to your street because there's cars all over the place. I can understand the frustration. That's a big deal. However, just 3 days before Christmas this last year, they took the fines and the penalties up to a whole new level. Let me explain
like how bad?
This is what the new fines are. You cannot use the hot tub if you are a short-term rental person past 10 p.m.
Stop
no
it.
ifs, ands, or buts. If you go out there and it's not a noise complaint, it's just using the hot tub past 10 p.m., or before, I believe it's 9 a.m. So you want to wake up early, watch the sunrise in the hot tub, and you're renting, $1,000 fine. Not only is it a $1,000 fine, it's a $1,000 fine for you renting, and it's a $1,000 fine for the property owner. And if they put that language in your agreement, they can immediately put that onto you.
Right.
So you're out there, the kids are in bed, married couple, or a couple families. You're sitting there and you're like, kids are finally in bed. That was a crazy day. Let's just go outside. We're going to sit there.
Maybe a glass of wine.
Have a glass of wine. We're just going to sit here and finally talk like adults because these kids are finally asleep. Can we relate on that point?
Yes, absolutely.
10:01. The neighbor who cannot stand having a vacation rental next door that has no beef with you.
No, they don't even know you.
Calls code enforcement, they can be there within 15, 20 minutes, and now you've got a $2,000 fine. There's no warning.
That's wild.
So when this first came out, because when I first saw this, I was watching a thread in a bulletin board, specifically on Lake Tahoe, and people were like, "This is really crazy.
Right?
Is this really possible? Are they really actually handing out these fines?" And yes, and remember, it's not just hot tubs, folks. This is for parking, as we mentioned.
Yes.
If you exceed the number of people for the rental property, if you have more cars than you're allowed, and if you park in any way, shape, or form, not in the driveway, but on the dirt outside. And for some of these narrow streets, there just is not a lot of parking.
Exactly.
Because it's expensive there. Everyone's lots are kind of small. So this has become this huge, massive issue because they're trying to balance, which I totally understand. Mm-hmm. You know, if you live there, this is your dream home. Right. If you can live and work in South Lake Tahoe or retire there,
you're winning.
That's your life. Mm-hmm. And then you've got a house that occasionally turns into a party house for the weekend, and you just can't stand it, and now they're ruining your dream. And we can all, I think, understand that. But now it's turned into this thing that now, you know what the story is? When you Google South Lake Tahoe, this story is what's coming up. It's the story of the $1,000 fines, the $2,000
Which is really $2,000,
fines.
right.
You can't hot tub. And here's what blows my mind. And I would love to start hearing some comments about this.
I have one ready for you.
Because I want to tell you why this is back in the news. Mm-hmm. So, and this is not just me imagining things. This is literally how it can go down. If you are a local or even a long-term renter, let's say you sign a lease and you're technically a renter. Okay. But you sign it for a year, or I think even 6 months would be qualified as a long-term renter. You can sit in your hot tub and you can call on the rental people next door who are going to be there for the weekend while they're in their hot tub, and you can call code enforcement. They get a $2,000 fine while you're on the phone in your hot tub.
I can't.
I understand that cities can come up with specific laws and ordinances on specific scenarios. I understand that because they're trying to preserve. This is their city. These are their rules. They're trying to make everybody happy and to do that. But Dana, I cannot see how that is possible.
You can't enforce that all the time.
That one person is allowed to do something that another person isn't. Here's one thing: if it was noise, I would understand,
right?
Because that's clearly impacting that person's experience, right?
Okay.
All of that. But
let
this
me
story is
just
just blowing my mind.
So if I decided to stay in a hotel for the night,
right?
Okay.
A normal hotel, and I want to stay at the pool until 9:50, and then it's 10 o'clock. Yes, there are rules you have to clear out. How is that any different from somebody renting a vacation rental and staying out past 10 o'clock? I understand both sides of the story, but as a guest in somebody else's home / hotel / anyone else's city, you have to respect the rules. That's why you go to that city.
Two things. When you're at a hotel, there's usually a lifeguard, and that's why they're kicking you out at 10 o'clock, because there's nobody there to watch you.
There's generally no lifeguard in general. Yeah.
Well,
I think you're probably thinking Vegas and some of these other places.
Big hotels.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say for the hotel pools that you're talking about, there usually isn't a lifeguard.
Yes.
So you're right and you're right. Okay. Well, how did that happen?
It happens every day.
Okay, but moving on.
Dana Chavez Connolly is saying that those party houses bring a lot of revenue to Tahoe. And so while the residents might be upset about the consequences of having people that stay in Airbnbs there, it really does boost their economy. So there's that point.
Okay. Manny McManus says, having lived in South Lake Tahoe, we watch half the neighborhood turn into vacation rentals. You watch people come in and make a bunch of noise and party all night. Plus, they bring 3 to 4 cars with them. We have since moved. So let's go back to Rob's point of people parking in the streets.
Right.
There's too many people. So when you sign up to, say, in said vacation rental on Airbnb, whatever the case is, you have a limit to how many people you can have.
Yes.
Yep.
Because that's just generally a city rule and an Airbnb rule. 2, you are also allowed a spot, and that's usually on the driveway or a carport. Some places will say there is no parking, and that's what you have to accept. But if you park on the street, I totally understand for the neighbors and everyone out there that it is not okay. So I'm sorry, I'm with the city of South Lake Tahoe. I love that.
I get that.
Yeah,
okay.
I love that. Everyone can go and stay in somebody's home. They can make extra money, but this is a city issue, and I think that we have to regulate it, or else it's just going to be completely messy and chaotic.
Okay, I agree with you, and I agree with the residents of South Lake Tahoe that have since moved. You can't have it. We've gone from one extreme to another. That's my opinion. Of course, you can't go show up at somebody's house and destroy their neighborhood with trash, parking, and noise. That's not acceptable. Imagine it all comes down to this. Imagine if you live there. Would that bother you?
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
There are noise ordinances. There is a $200 fine if you park on the street and are blocking snowplows.
Yeah.
There are a various number of things that are already in place. My whole point is this.
Okay.
No warning, $2,000 fine instantly for people that just showed up. And the reason why this is back in the news is that the newspaper, I forget the specific name, if you can remind me in my ear, that would be great, but it's in Reno. They just did an investigation. They went through every citation, they mapped it out, they got all the details, the written report of what happened, the call, the citation, who was fined, and basically the backstory. And what they discovered is that 60% of these fines were for parking. Very few were for noise.
Okay.
Very few were for noise. And 20% of these calls were false alarms. And then they go on to say that a number of these calls were made by specific individuals on the same house, often within minutes of said imposed infraction. Because the other part of this is that they feel like some individuals who live in the community may be abusing this, because one of the things that really seems extreme to me and to the people that own a home, have one of these permits to use it as an Airbnb rental or what have you, is that if it's 3 strikes and you're out permanently. If you get 3 violations from your guests within 2 years, you lose your permit. You can never rent out your house again. So that makes all the people either doing it or wanting to do it, that puts a huge cloud over it. And not only that goes also, once you're banned, I believe you're banned for life. That residence is.
And
so
even
if you try and sell it, then now your resale is down. Like, do you have a permit to be able to rent this? Yes or no? If you do, that home's more valuable. And if you got dinged 3 times and it's over because the neighbor, minutes.
So think about this. What about neighbors that just have beef or that want to shut down the rental industry in South Lake Tahoe?
Right,
and are just calling people up. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob, you have somebody coming this weekend? I don't care if they're even in the hot tub. I'm calling right now.
I'm still siding with the residents. People have paid a ton of money to live in this gorgeous location, okay? And all these people are just coming in for a weekend. Yes, I get it. You want to have a great weekend. We want to enjoy it too. Absolutely. But get off my property.
So after the Reno paper
my backyard.
After the Reno paper mapped this out, it is now in the headlines everywhere. Again, go ahead, Google it. We'll put a link up to this because you got to read it. You got to read the accounts. Here's one. Neighbor calls on a church group that has too many people. They admit it right away. And as the code enforcement person's leaving, the neighbor ran over and said, "Hey, look, I don't have any problem with them at all.
Okay.
It is with the homeowner I've got a problem with." So now we're starting to see that the perceived infraction to their life and their livelihood, and it's ruining the neighborhood, is being used as a way to basically form the neighborhood in the way that they would like it to be, rather than the way that it's allowed to be. So I just see a lot of opportunity for people abusing the rules. I see no opportunity for people when you're on vacation. You're on vacation. These things are thousands of dollars. You're getting the kids out of the car. One of the accounts, which is in the paperwork, is that literally they violated by parking in the dirt. They were unloading their car within minutes. And
they got flagged?
Yes. So
can you imagine you're just starting your vacation?
What I'm saying is that the people in South Lake Tahoe that have been overrun with party homes and rentals and everything else that they did not sign up for because it got so popular 3 years ago, they need to have something in place to protect their neighborhood. They really do.
Well, I'm nervous.
Is a no warning $2,000 fine out of the blue, is that really the best way of doing this? Well, the city council has heard loud and clear from people outside of the area saying that this is too much. It seems now that South Lake, if you have a choice to go in Tahoe, do you go to South Lake Tahoe or do you go somewhere else?
That's what people in here are saying, that I'm done with all of these regulations. I'm trying to go on vacation. I'm just going to find somewhere else to go.
I mean, everyone wants a deal, but again, you have to respect the nature of where you're going.
You sound like Melissa
do you-
Paulus Chacon.
But
She
do
says,
you feel like
"Respect
if
the
you feel like if
locals."
you and your husband go in the hot tub at 10:01 p.m. and get a $2,000 fine, that the punishment fits the crime? I mean,
No, not
it
at
would
all.
be
In
that
tough to
case-
square that.
But how do you know how loud you're being? I could just be having coffee and people are like, oh, maybe she's drinking or something. But I'm talking at a normal.
He said it's not even about noise. He said literally your
can't-
presence in the hot tub is an issue.
Yeah.
And you must
So I
remove your
can't
body.
put my feet in, is what you're saying.
Here's the. I'm saying live it up. I'll be in South
I
Lake
just-
Tahoe the rest of this week, and I plan on being in that hot
I
tub.
just feel like this is a moment where it's a little bit extreme. I think we all understand that we're trying to navigate this, the renters' rights, the property owners' rights, the locals, and all of that. And you're trying to find this balance. I just feel like it screams, we are not a tourist town. Do not come here, because the second you mess up, you're going to get a $2,000 fine.
That's huge.
That is massive. There's no warning. And for the property owner, I mean, it just seems extreme to me. I feel like there needs to be, and there was regulations prior to this. They just kicked it up a whole other notch because of all of this
booming rental
appearances at
market.
the city
I'll say
council
this.
meetings and all of this.
My parents and I took a month-long trip to Italy last year or the year before.
Amazing.
And we stayed at Airbnbs all throughout. And every time you sign up for an Airbnb, there are these waivers that come up, and it'll let you know what the rules are in that area. So nothing really, you don't go in blind.
Right.
Exactly.
And so I imagine anyone that is renting with Vrbo or Airbnb is getting a notification about the parking and about the hot tub.
Right, and you can see behind us too. Those are the signs that they put up. They let everybody know.
Okay.
So and they have to have signage. I mean, that's part of the rules. Is that
Because if you're just
Yeah,
walking into this
exactly.
house, you're like, come on now.
Right,
I didn't
right.
even know about this.
and it's like,
But I will say this. My best friend, whose 30th birthday party I am going to in South Lake Tahoe, did not warn us about these rules, and I don't know that she knows about these rules.
she probably knows, just probably didn't say anything.
Oh, Chelsea?
so?
just saying.
So I would love to hear more comments, especially
yes, we have
if the
time.
couple the couple that moved away. I mean, that's a worst case scenario because they were trying to deal with it, and before these new rules came in, they never had an opportunity that maybe. And remember, I'm seeing things a certain way, but perhaps in their neighborhood where they moved away, perhaps these were enough to actually calm down all of the violations that were affecting their experience in South Lake Tahoe. So there is obviously another side to this.
Now, there are people that are saying it's never quiet in South Lake Tahoe at 10 p.m. Why was
depends on
that
where you're
the
at, though.
time that was designated? Somebody else is saying it goes back to common courtesy. Like you were saying, be kind and respectful to one another. If it's 9 p.m. and a neighbor asks you to please quiet down, apologize and quiet down. They say, we have a cabin and rent it out often, but we have great relationships with the neighbors. And if the renters get loud or out of control, they call us, not the police.
Right.
It's better that it's that way, and then they're able to control it on their own. I like that.
I just feel like there's no middle ground. There's no opportunity because let's say you're unloading the car, code enforcement rolls up and says, hey, here's the deal. I know these are really strict. You think you can pull in the driveway, or
But maybe
can we
they're
manage
doing
this?
that, though.
I hope so.
They got to
Maybe
take it.
they're kind of being somewhat lenient, like a first, like, hey, I see you're
First
lending
offense.
the car,
Yeah.
but
Right.
you have to move your vehicle.
Who knows?
Maybe. I have no idea.
We're not there, but
Right.
I just feel like a
I
lot
wish I
of
was
people are
there.
getting these
I'll tell you
tickets.
if I see anything happen. I'll be on the watch.
Okay, so here's another question. Wow, I just lost my train of thought. I love being pregnant.
Let me see what else there. Fran Gwen says, when you rent it, you know the rules. If you break them, you get fined. It's as simple as that.
okay,
I'm
What
not
if-
arguing against that there's rules, and if you break them, you get fined. My whole argument is, are these rules reasonable, and are they justified?
Okay, but what did they do before? Okay, so let's say there were no vacation rentals. Maybe there were. It wasn't like a big influx
Right.
like Airbnb has brought or VRBO or whatever. There are hotels out there. So maybe the hotels are losing this business. And so maybe they're going to the city and saying, hey, well, you got to make sure you're finding all these different people, all these different cars, all these
I could see
whatever.
that.
But bottom line is that South Lake Tahoe is getting a ton of money either from Airbnb taxes or parking taxes or whatever.
But-
so they're making money.
But
The
I would
city is
say
making money
I would say
somehow.
this: the
Okay.
people that want the renting a home in a neighborhood experience,
Because they want to be able to cook food.
they're not interested in staying in a hotel casino anyway. So if they want
That's true.
that experience in the Lake Tahoe area,
Yes.
they're not going to choose South Lake Tahoe. They'll choose somewhere else.
Okay, so we have Stephanie Reiser chiming in, and she says, here's an option. Maybe find a secluded house if you're going to make a lot of noise. I don't normally stay up late, but come on. 10 p.m., a hot tub cutoff, that is ridiculous. If I want my kid in bed on vacation before I can spend some quality time with my husband, like you were saying, then hello, we need to make that happen.
Right.
I was supporting her.
I don't know why.
I feel
Stephanie. Like the hot. I could understand all these other things because, parking again. If there's 3 cars in the street and plow can't come through, and you're sitting at home and you can't get to work and you're stuck, that's wrong.
Right.
Okay, I get it. The trash thing. Now you're bringing bears in the neighborhood. I get it.
I like that.
Way too many people there. That could be a safety issue. I get it. But sitting in the hot tub.
But the fact that these fines were implemented right before ski season, I mean, that is smart based on the city. Yes, they need more money, but why would lessening it make any difference? Okay, now it's summertime. Let's lessen the fine, maybe because less people are going. But you told me that South Lake Tahoe during the summertime is just as busy, let alone during wintertime.
Exactly, it's busier. So really quick, let's come over here, DJ. So this, okay, you're looking at it. So this is what the paper in Reno did, and really give them all the credit because they actually did the work. We're just basically using their data, their analysis to do this. So anyway, you can see most of it is for parking.
Okay, so
perhaps we should move on.
We see all of your comments coming in, and we
so
love
many comments.
this. I know. So we will keep you posted. I'll bring back a South Lake Tahoe report when I come back.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more stories just like this one, all you got to do is hit subscribe.